Okay, so there's this thing, right? This really frustrating experience that I think anyone who's ever learned a second language just knows it's almost painful.
Hmm. I know exactly what you're talking about.
In your own language, you're guarding. You're a complete person. You've got wit, you have complex ideas, you have these big burning ambitions,
And then you switch to English or French or whatever it is you're learning.
and boom, you're a toddler again. You're disappointing. You want to talk about your life's purpose, but all you can manage is the sun is hot.
It's the personality transplant. It's a real thing. You lose that high fidelity version of yourself.
Exactly. And that's the friction we're looking at today. We usually focus on survival language, ordering coffee. But what about the big stuff, the soul stuff? So today we're doing a deep dive into a really fascinating piece of source material called Mastering English Conversations About Dreams and Ambitions.
It sounds like a pretty standard lesson title, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But when you get into it, it's more like a guide to psychological survival in another language.
That is what hooked me. So our mission today isn't just to list vocabulary. It's to unpack the framework this source provides to bridge that gap between having a dream and actually, being able to talk about it, especially in those high-stakes conversations.
And high stakes is the right word. If you mess up your sandwich order, you just get the wrong sandwich.
Yeah.
But if you can't articulate your ambition to a potential mentor or an employer,
Yeah.
you might lose a whole future.
So let's get into it. The source suggests a real structure here. I've been calling it the architecture of ambition in my head. You don't just talk, you build the conversation.
I like that blueprint. And it starts with the setting. The source is very clear that the model conversation isn't some high-pressure debate. It's described as thoughtful and encouraging.
Which is the first big takeaway for me. We always practice for the worst case, like a hostile interviewer. But the source says to master the supportive conversation first.
Right. It establishes a bit of psychological safety. If you can't tell your dream to a friend, how are you going to tell it to a boss?
Yeah.
But let's look at that structure itself. It's a 4-part flow.
Okay, walk us through it. Because my default when I'm nervous is just to ramble.
And this prevents that. So
Yeah.
Step 1 is the headline. Just state the dream. Get it out there.
Simple enough?
Step 2 is the motivation, the why. Why does this matter to you? Step 3, which I think is the most critical, is the method, the small steps you're taking to get there.
Okay.
And then Step 4 is just the closing. You end with a bit of encouragement.
It seems so simple laid out like that, but you're right. People, they jump around, they start with the steps, or they just talk about the dream without the why.
Exactly. Without the structure, it's just noise. This flow, it moves from the abstract, the dream, to the concrete, the steps. It gives the listener's brain a logical path to follow.
I want to zoom in on that third step, discussing small steps. Why is that so important? We usually want to talk about the big, shiny result.
Well, think about the listener. If I say, I want to save the world, it sounds nice, but it's so vague, it's a platitude.
Right.
But if I say, I want to save the world, and I'm starting by volunteering at the local food bank on Tuesdays, suddenly I'm real. My dream is real.
It grounds the ambition. It proves you're not just, daydreaming.
It does. And for the learner, the source specifically says to have a slow-paced, friendly delivery. It tells you to take your time.
That's so counterintuitive. We think fluency means speed, like talking really, really fast.
That's a huge misconception. Speed is often just a mask for insecurity. The source is saying that speaking deliberately, pausing to find the right word, it actually signals that what you're saying is important.
It's important enough to wait for. Okay, so that's the structure. Dream, why, steps, encouragement. But we need the bricks to build it. We have to talk about the language focus section.
The vocabulary of the future.
Yes. The source gives 6 key words: dream, goal, plan, ambition, future, and success. Now, these seem basic, right?
They do, but it's about the weight of the words. The way the source contrasts them is what's really helpful for setting the tone.
Okay, so let's pick 2. Dream versus goal. How does the source separate them?
It's subtle, but it's about distance and agency. Dream is softer, more romantic maybe. I dream of living by the sea. It feels like something that might happen to you.
Whereas goal sounds like it has sweat on it.
Exactly. A goal implies a plan. You don't dream of finishing a report by Friday, you make it a goal. But the real magic isn't in the nouns, it's in the verbs, the action phrases.
Oh, I love this part. The source gives 4 sentence starters. I want to. My goal is I hope to, and I am working toward.
Right. Let's play this out. You're in a job interview. You want to say you plan on becoming a team leader one day. Which phrase do you use?
Definitely not. I hope to.
Why not?
I hope to. Sounds like I'm waiting for a lightning strike. It's passive. I hope it doesn't rain. The power is somewhere else.
Precisely. The source flags "I hope to" as being passive. My goal is, on the other hand, that plants a flag in the ground. But there's one that's even stronger.
I am working towards.
I'm working towards. The grammar there is the present continuous tense.
It's happening now. It's active.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you say, I want to be a doctor, it's a desire. If you say, I am working towards becoming a doctor, the listener pictures you studying. They see the effort. It instantly changes you from a dreamer into a doer.
That is such a powerful little shift because we often default to just, I want, which can sound a little childish.
It can sound like a wish list. I am working towards. Opens a door. It invites the question, oh, really? How? It starts a real conversation.
Yeah.
And it's not even complex grammar.
That's the other thing that stood out. The source stresses using simple present and future forms. It's not about using some tangled, complicated tense.
You mean like, by this time next year, I will have been endeavoring to.
Exactly. Nobody talks like that in a real conversation. It just sounds like you swallowed a textbook.
There's this trap for intermediate learners where they think complexity equals intelligence. The source says the opposite. Clarity equals intelligence.
If you want to open a bakery, just say, my goal is to open a bakery. You've communicated it perfectly. Don't get lost in the syntax.
And you lose the emotional punch if you do. Which brings us to the next layer. We have the architecture, we have the bricks. Now we need the heart, the why.
The motivation.
And this is often the hardest part for language learners.
Really? I would have thought it's the easiest because it's just how you feel.
But explaining feelings requires abstract language.
Hmm.
Concrete words are easy table, car. But fulfillment, legacy, stability,
Yeah.
those words are slippery when you're under pressure.
So how does the source get around that?
It gives you emotional shorthand. These little motivational phrases, one step at a time. Don't give up. Keep trying.
I mean, that sounds a little bit like a poster with a kitten hanging from a tree branch, Hang in there.
It does. It really does. But in a conversation, they serve a really specific purpose. They're social glue. They set that friend or mentor tone the source talks about.
So if you tell me your big, scary dream, and I respond with, wow, just take it one step at a time,
Yeah.
I'm really just saying, I hear you and I support you.
Exactly. You're not critiquing their business plan. You're supporting the human being. The source is actually teaching you how to be a good listener, too.
Which is huge, because if you know how to support someone else, you feel safer sharing your own stuff. It builds that reciprocity.
Yeah. And the source list for where these conversations happen, it's not just interviews, it's personal chats. And I love this phrase talking about building a better life.
Building a better life, that feels so foundational.
It is. And this gets to what I think is the meta layer of this whole thing, the most profound part of it.
Okay, let's unpack the meta layer. I'm ready.
The source is teaching you how to talk about your goals. But for the person using the source,
Yeah.
the learner, what is their biggest goal right now?
Well, it's learning English.
It's learning English. So when they practice saying, I am working towards my goal, they're literally describing what they're doing in that exact moment.
Wow, okay. The medium is the message.
Yes. The source validates the learning journey itself as a worthy goal. It even lists learning English as a dream, right alongside career and personal growth.
That is so validating. It's saying your dream is valid now. You don't have to wait until you're fluent. Becoming fluent is the dream.
Imagine the confidence that gives you. If you can successfully describe your goal of learning English in English, you've just created this perfect, positive feedback loop.
That's a great bridge to the last part, which is all about confidence and clarity. Because this stuff is scary. The source even admits that talking about goals can feel difficult.
I'm so glad it says that. When a textbook pretends everything is easy, you just feel dumb when you struggle. This admits the vulnerability.
So what's the solution it offers for that fear? Is it just be brave?
No, it's technique. It's going back to that small steps idea. The conversation itself is just a series of small steps. You only have to get through step 1. Then step 2.
It's chunking the conversation.
It's chunking. And it shifts your focus away from performance and towards connection. If I'm trying to impress you, I'm anxious. If I'm just trying to make you understand me, the grammar becomes less important.
That is a fundamental shift, and it brings back those action phrases. I am working towards speaking English. Feels so much more grounded than just, I want to. It honors the process.
It does. And you can apply this framework to anything. Getting a promotion, learning to bake bread, anything.
The stakes might change, but the structure holds up.
The structure is universal. Dream, why, steps, encouragement. It's kind of algorithm for talking about ambition.
I want to circle back to something about the listener. Why is it so important that the source tells us to visualize a supportive listener, like a friend or mentor?
Because your expectation literally defines your performance. If you walk into a room expecting judgment, your brain goes on the defensive, your cortisol spikes.
And the fight or flight response just shuts down the complex language part of your brain. You literally can't find the words.
Correct. But if you train yourself to imagine a supportive face, you stay calm. You stay in the part of your brain where your English skills actually live. So it's not just a language lesson, it's a visualization technique to manage anxiety.
It's like a Jedi mind trick for language learning. That's incredible.
It really is.
Okay, so we've covered a lot: the architecture, the vocabulary, the motivation, the psychology. Let's try to boil this down into a toolkit for someone listening right now.
Let's do it.
So you're out there, you have this big ambition, but you feel like you can't get the words out in English. What's the very first tool you grab?
You grab the structure. Don't just start talking. Take a breath. Organize it in your head. What's the goal? Why do I want it? What's one small step I'm taking?
And after that,
Choose your verb. Are you hoping or are you working towards? Choose the active one. It changes how you feel and it changes how others see you.
and the final piece.
Adopt the mindset, one step at a time.
Yeah.
You don't have to sound like a poet. You just have to be clear. Clarity is confidence.
Clarity is confidence. I love that. The source proves you don't need perfect native level fluency to share who you are. You just need a map.
And this gives you the map.
Before we wrap up, I have this one last thought that's been bouncing around in my head.
Go for it.
We've been talking about how we use a new language to describe our dreams, but I'm wondering if the act of translating your dream into a new, simpler language actually changes the dream itself.
How do you mean?
Well, if you have to strip away all the jargon and the fancy words because your vocabulary is limited, do you actually end up with a purer version of your dream?
That is a really profound question.
Like, you can't hide behind corporate buzzwords. You can't say you want to leverage synergistic opportunities. You just have to say simply, my goal is to help people.
You're forced to distill it down to its absolute truth.
Exactly. Maybe the limitation of the language is actually a filter. It strips away the noise and leaves you with what is most essential.
I think you're onto something. Speaking another language forces you to be an essentialist. So maybe, just maybe, talking about your dreams in English could make them even clearer than they are in your own native language.
Something for you to think about as you're working towards your own goals, in whatever language that may be.
Absolutely.
This was great. Thanks for diving deep on this one with us.
Always a pleasure.
Keep working towards it. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.